The Seattle Seahawks taking Dee Eskridge with their round 2 pick 56 selection was moderately surprising. After all, John Schneider as a general manager has a big reputation as a man who trades down with his first pick. Not only that, Seattle heading into the 2021 NFL draft only had 3 selections and limited assets to acquire more other than their round 2 pick. But because the Seahawks were unable to net a deal which was worth moving down with, they took Eskridge, the 24-year-old wide receiver. Like trading down with their first pick, Eskridge is similarly Seahawky. He's scrappy in the run game, showing high effort on downfield blocks, and he plays with that cliche chip on the shoulder that the Seahawks always seem to mention in pretty much every post-draft press conference. They look for this, that grit. Eskridge's usage at Western Michigan is very interesting. He cropped up in my mini-series that I wrote at SeahawkMaven, a deep dive looking at the 2021 rookie analytics. I used the Sports Info Solutions 2021 rookie handbook and the numbers within that excellent text because they show how Eskridge's usage changed. For the Broncos, he wasn't able to quite show his ability as a deep receiver, largely because of the type of quarterback that Western Michigan had. He did alleviate some of those concerns down at the Senior Bowl, but his ability to haul in deep sideline passes, which I'm sure Russell Wilson will be hoping to target him on, is still somewhat of a projection. What Eskridge did manage to show in college, as the SIS book shows, was his ability as a yards after catch weapon. In 2018, Eskridge had 5.5 yards after catch per reception. 2019, he missed 9 games with a broken right clavicle, but returning for his senior season in 2020, Eskridge's yak per reception had soared to 14.4. The comparison between 2018 and 2020 is pretty solid, given that Eskridge had 767 receiving yards in 2018, and he finished his last year with 784 receiving yards. 2018, his average depth of target was still very much a deep burner, with a 19.9 ADOT. However, in 2020, that number had dipped to 11. Again, his yak was unlocked. In 2018, he had 205 yards after the catch. In 2020, 488. This brings us to Eskridge's standout trait on tape. It's his spatial dominance and awareness that makes him such a threat after the catch. That's what this video is going to look at. 4 plays which really highlight what Eskridge can bring to the Seahawks. Yak has been a much sought after missing element from the Seahawks offense, and Shane Waldron will be hoping to really improve that number and give Russell Wilson some easier, quick game throws that he, more importantly, is comfortable hitting and accessing. First up, we have Eskridge in a road trip against Akron and a 3rd and 24. Now, Eskridge, after being drafted, spoke about how it helps him to know the whole picture on a play, so he may well understand how difficult this concept is for the Zips to defend. Western Michigan's got their back in a dot, so the defense is unable to determine pre-snap what side is more likely to have an RPO attached to it. And they also post-snap fake the run fake one way, as though they're reading one side of the formation, and then flop it and throw it to the other side. What Eskridge may also notice is that Akron have left a B-gap bubble onto the right side of the offense, meaning that this safety is likely to be asked to fit into that, especially with the quarterback's eyes away from him. But that's the advanced stuff. What Eskridge does well here is he observes he has inside leverage press coverage. He gets the defender to move, widening him with an outside jab step, creating enough room at the line of scrimmage to then inside release. His inside release is impressive as he skinnies his surface, lowering his pad level and limiting the cornerback's ability to recover and get hands onto him. He then works upfield, almost stacking the defensive back. If he was to go flat, the defensive back would be able to overplay this and cheat. But because he sells vertical, Eskridge is really able to create room for himself. He did play some games both ways for Western Michigan, lining up as a cornerback. And I think this knowledge has really amplified his understanding and how he plays football. His style. His ability to beat press coverage is very encouraging. Obviously, again, in the NFL, it would be a different level of defender, but he works an angle and works a corner so well, understanding leverage, getting him to move. This should carry over effectively to the NFL and could see him become a Z, or as I would say, Z receiver for the Seahawks, playing outside, enabling Lockett to move into the slot. You can see that the safety does indeed try to fit the B gap, and Eskridge replaces him, understanding where the space is on the concept. Once Eskridge catches the football, This is essentially punt return work for him, or kick return work, and he does a great job of accessing the available lane and the maximum amount of yardage. He reads that the deep safety rotating to the middle of the field has a tough angle on him if he's to cut to the sideline, and he also understands that he has a blocker here ready to set up. With the ball in his hands, he's dynamite, and he outruns the defense down the sideline. I love here how also he slows for the ball. He waits in the whole of the space, and he's able to adjust to it thrown. I mean, it's not a bad throw. The quarterback is looking to target him in that kind of chest area, but he does adjust somewhat to it in terms of his speed. It'd be very easy to overrun it. I think in the NFL, certain defenders will be able to catch Eskridge more than the Maction competition we're seeing him up against. However, his ability to find the available crease and hit it at speed will still obviously translate, and he will still be able to pick up some yak from that. 3rd and 24, a relatively low-risk play is transformed. Next up, we have Eskridge against Central Michigan. This game was obviously a rivalry game, and it did get very chippy. That included Eskridge making a really physical hit as a punt coverage gunner. Here he's in a slot roll off the line of scrimmage. He observes the defense really well on this 1st and 10. The scoreboard was wrong. The defense and the offense are playing that kind of classic college thing of each coach wanting to be the last one with the chalk in their hands, and they shift along. Eskridge notices he has a safety who's essentially at the sticks playing inside leverage, and he has a more conventional RPO route here with the quarterback reading the overhang here. If the overhang crashes down versus the run, the quarterback will pull the football and throw the ball to Eskridge. Eskridge is very intelligent in his route stem to manipulate the available space. He outside releases this to maximize the available space. The free safety does a good job staying patient, but with the cushion so far off, Eskridge easily makes the hitch catch, and it's what he does afterwards which is so impressive. Many players would try and cut back inside where there's the safety and 9 defenders, but Eskridge is able to turn this situation into a massive play, turning the other direction away from the inside leverage safety and the rest of the defense. His burst of acceleration is then far too fast for the outside cornerback and that safety, and he slips past the entire defense for an absolutely mega touchdown. The cornerback here is stunned by Eskridge's ability to burst out of this. As he pursues upfield, he's far too flat in his approach angle and just completely misses. And that's what Eskridge does. Once he's worked the space to his advantage, he then has the natural athleticism to break angles. A lot of this is instinctual things which can't really be taught, but there is also an intelligence to his game that goes along with his quick twitch. Once more, he does almost get caught, and I do think he lacks the real top-end gears. But in terms of acceleration, he's absolutely dynamite. This poor safety tries to break down in space, and by the time he's done that, Eskridge is gone in a direction he didn't really expect. The final 2 clips are from the Ball State matchup of 2020. The university has a terrifying mascot. Here's an image of that to haunt you. And this is a 1st and 10 early in the game, approaching the red zone. Western Michigan used a lot of these nub trips formations, and Eskridge is at the bottom of this bunch. This game really allowed him to show off his ability on wide receiver screens, which is something that, again, Waldron will be looking to use and replicate the success that Sean McVay's had with them. Seems like the Seahawks, every time they match up with the Rams, end up having a screenplay go for big yardage. Waldron getting Russell Wilson to be able to throw them more comfortably and getting the play executed more consistently will be a big part of his yak mission. Here, Eskridge gets 2 good blocks. What he does to really get the optimal amount of yardage is subtle but impressive. It reflects his running back background. You see here, after the catch, he has 2 blocks and has to make a defender miss. So he presses inside and then breaks to the outside. When I talked about his running back background, Eskridge really does carry the ball like that in the sense that he presses the line of scrimmage or the point of attack well and then cuts and goes. There's no indecisiveness from him. He's a very decisive runner. Here, the little press inside gets the cornerback showing on the outside to just hesitate inside a bit and lose on the block. If he hadn't done that, the corner may have shedded outside and just been able to turn him inside to the help. It also holds the free safety on that inside pursuit angle for a second longer. Without that, everyone's job playing the screen gets easier. The defenders can just hold their angle and they don't have to move. But that little inside hesitation just enables Eskridge to access that sideline lane, getting to the corner. To finish, we have another 1st and 10 screen from Western Michigan's next drive in the game. Once more, it's a nub trips formation, although the 3 wide receivers are spread further out. Eskridge is in the slot this time, and he has defenders very far off him. He's not really the most make-you-miss guy, not the most elusive type, but this is a nice example of what he can do to evade defenders before his spatial awareness and understanding, along with his quick twitch, starts to show off. Here he knows that there's 3 defenders outside and he has 2 blockers, and he manages to make the unblocked guy miss. With a nice shimmy to hold the defender on the inside and get him to break down his feet, Eskridge then bursts forward, also using a nasty offhand stiff arm to access the lane. From there, his acceleration just surprises everyone, and he's able to really get down the sideline. He's just too fast. He just has too much burst. The end zone angle is nice here because you can see how he accesses the lane, and he gets tripped at the last. Again, I think this will happen more in the NFL, but his quick twitch will still apply. You also see from the end zone that nasty offhand stiff arm to prevent the defender getting arms onto him and slowing him down. What's also nice to see is how upset Eskridge is after he gets tripped on the play. That intensity is something that shows up throughout his tape. So Eskridge's spatial awareness and dominance means he can be an immediate year 1 contributor in Seattle. I also think he has the skill set to stay on the field for all 3 downs for the Seahawks, which is obviously going to be very important with the much mentioned, much talked about, much hype usage of tempo that Shane Waldron is supposedly looking to bring. Seattle will be staying with the same 3 wide receivers out on the field, or they'll be looking to do that. Now obviously that's going to be Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, but that 3rd guy the Seahawks will be hoping will be Dee Eskridge. His ability to understand defender leverage and where the space is on plays and manipulate that and access the right lanes and creases is something that will serve him well as he comes in as a rookie. Thanks for watching this video breakdown. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe and like the video. If you're watching on SeahawkMaven, please retweet the article on Twitter or share it on Facebook. And however you're consuming this, please do talk about it to your friends and your family and anyone you know who likes football. You can follow me on Twitter @MattyFBrown, where I'm happy to answer any questions you might have or just talk about ball.